advocacy over the years. The Veterans Bureau is a group of young people who feel that their focus is not about their self, it's about country, one, it's about the people, it's about making things happen. Over the time, a group of professional people like the OP, the Goloti, the Christian, the Modri, and the Stephen Moore, the list go on. The first thing we say, we start to call on the national radio to checkmate, critique, and analyze government policy and program. The guys start to choke on the radio, calling, critiquing, analyzing, and making the needful recommendation to government. Government try to listen and follow. One of the major achievements of the Veterans Bureau over the time, when 10 horses got there on fire, zinc shacks, in the alongside the football field where Bagwell Avenue started, start from. So the guys phoned in and they tried to make the case of the people of Doe community, specifically those whom horses got by fire. The government listened to our plea and ensured us that those horses were going to be rebuilt on our watch, on our advocacy. We had a gigantic 6-bedroom apartment should rebuilt by the government of through the Veterans Bureau of Liberia to ensure that our advocacy being fair on fertile ground. The next thing here is the Veterans Bureau of Liberia during the COVID-19. We have engaged stakeholders, we have engaged partners, private sector, people from the private and government sector to come to the aid. You know, during the COVID, during the lockdown, many people were not working. The Veterans Bureau was almost close to 50, 60 beds already to distribute to the old folks. The Veterans Bureau not just stop there, we keep engaging to ensure that we advocate for the less fortunate. One of our major advocates is because of the advocates of the Veterans Bureau. Today you can have the role that you see person. We have first project in this leadership. That's a
and this brings up to a point. Many a times when we reference a veteran bureau, people see you to be a supporter of the George Weah's administration. Today it's important we have you on this platform. You to provide the veteran bureau's position, and this I want you to be very honest with, to provide a veteran bureau's position when it comes to the way things are going in this country, especially with whether you support the George Weah administration or not.
So, as first order of the Veterans Bureau, who sit at the first quadrant of the leadership, with the approval of the Board of Trustees of the Veterans Bureau, this I can say this year for the record that we owe nobody apology. We stand to what we believe. We stand to our conscience. We believe that President Weah can better lead this place, and the Veterans Bureau of Liberia will support President Weah, and we are supporting with no fear and favor.
Okay, we move on.
It is true that all is not rosy that we will come to, but in terms of governance, in terms of leadership, in terms of making things happen for the Liberian, the ordinary Liberian people, the Veterans Bureau owe no apology. We stick to our word, and we remain committed in supporting this president.
Let's move on now. We begin at first. We want to point out to as a lot of issues ongoing in the country of recent. We fought up on opposition. Former Vice President Joseph Boakai, the selection of his vice, that's of his running mate in Jeremiah Kun of Nima County as well. You want to talk about the association of Prince Johnson with those that won't, I'm saying back then, preach against the same very Prince Johnson when he was supporting the George Weah administration. Let's begin a conversation at first. How do the Veteran Bureau sees the selection of Jeremiah Kun as the running mate to Ambassador Boakai? Is that ticket a formidable one, strong enough to remove President George Weah from power?
So the first thing is, it is the blatant hypocrisy in Liberian politics. That is how I see the Boakai Kun ticket. Years back, when the ruling establishment was working alongside with the NDR, listening to stones of guys from the opposition committee preaching that Prince Johnson has been sanctioned, Prince Johnson is this, and the guys from NDR is that. President Weah should not work with him. They said who lot. But coming back to the same Prince Johnson, asking him for his support, Prince Johnson, knowing fully well that he has no face in the body politics, in the modern body politics of Liberia. Well, I don't want to say the Asian political sector, the modern political politics of Liberia. We do not have a face. So why he did tactically, he retrieved, used those guys who criticized him, who said the worst about him, use them and bring his son, Jeremiah, his political son, Jeremiah. So what I want to say is, politics is about number. Politics is about number. The Waka Kun ticket, I don't want to even deify that ticket. My presence here is to discuss the achievement.
That is exactly what we want to get. Because the thing about it, right? One of the reasons why we ask you that question is that every time we have these kinds of conversation, it's good to understand as to those who are claiming, right, those who wanting to replace a certain government. You want to look through them. You want to know the character they are associated with. You want to know to what extent these people have influence on that decision. That's why we're actually. So if we look at the ticket in general, understanding that Jeremiah Cohn is being nurtured by Prince Johnson. You know, Prince Johnson is the one that says this to Jeremiah Cohn to act. Then they place in a position to understand as to what is the strength of that ticket.
So the first thing I want to ask every Liberians, it is the sincerity. Opposition political party is a government in waiting. What were the advocacy years back by Mosoralo Konoko Light? What was the advocacy of the then Secretary General of Mormimg Liberia? What were the advocacy by then on the World Economic Chronicle? What were the advocacy against Senator Johnson when he was working with the Union establishment? So, like I said, politics, those guys from the opposition are not sincere to what they want. It is about recycling and reclaiming the space they had over the last 12 years. You listen to the quote-unquote rescue mission that he said he's willing to dance with the devil. Man, when I come to your radio station, I said, you are not performing because you are working with OP. OP is S, Y, and Z. When I'm coming in here, I'm going to be able to disassociate myself with OP.
Definitely.
To show that I'm coming for clean hands, I'm coming to set the stage. But you haven't yet left the room. You see me alarming with someone who are criticized over the year, someone who are chastised over the year, someone who are demonized over the year. I'm using that same person to get to your position. You know why I speak? The next person out there will say, but the sole intent is not to transform this radio station. The sole intent is because I want to be the lead host.
Is that how you see the Baka ticket?
Exactly so.
That ticket, its only motive is to take state power. Whether the transformation is because they are far from reaching.
But in terms of transformation and being sincere to the disco, we only tell the guys are sincere. The guys are not. The guys are not. Because politics is about what you say. I was opportune to do a study of now in political campaign. One thing I learned is when somebody is speaking in a political gathering, the things that person keep repeating, I will take state power, I will do this. It is the mind of the person. All when the person speaking is just a rhetoric. The sole intent is for the guy to come back to power and keep on enriching themselves, to keep on marginalizing the downtrodden. Person, we have broken the gap between the poor and the rich. Person, we have broken the gap between the ordinary people and the quote-unquote elite. So the gap has been broken. One of the major focuses is that some of the guys feel that we should always go a toe.
One of the things that continue to persist in our body politics in Liberia is the issue of deception.
Exactly.
To a point where even when people see something is good, they tend to paint them black.
Exactly so.
Has the veteran bureau come across these circumstances in our politics where when even the positives, things are impacting the lives of the people try to turn it upside down?
You see the invisible part as a case study. When that part of ongoing construction in Liberia, opposition took to the social media, criticized that park. But you know the sad things about it?
No.
I got shocked when I saw Senator Dillon at the park. I got shocked when I saw what his name said, Daniel Sando. I got shocked when I go take when I go take exercise at times at the park and see guys that criticize.
Do you feel discouraged?
No, I don't feel discouraged because I feel politics has changed, has taken another stage. These guys, focus is just to remove, wanted to remove and take over. The peer jealousy like has one of the major forces.
And let's also face the citizens now, because the thing about it, people like you have understood the mission of those individuals.
Exactly.
It presents you guys in a position now to reach out to the people in a way that they distinguish between love for country and your quest to just take power. I mean, what's the Veteran Bureau doing?
Thank you very much. So this brings us to the point. Veterans Bureau want to transform Liberian politics, and it will take us time. This is what we introduce as leadership and board of directors at the Veterans Bureau. We don't want to campaign on the basis of somebody is sleeping. These guys are coming with rhetorics. We are doing what we call the President Achievement Magazine. We have group of technicians, we have group of technical, we have group of professional people that are working on the corridor as we speak. Hopefully from now to the end of this month or the middle of June, the Veterans Bureau, we are capturing all of President Obia's achievement. Because when we're going out to campaign,
It sounds good.
this is our thing. Because my next really appearance here, I want to come with the booklet in my hand, give it to you, and tell you, say, look on page 7, we are talking about road connectivities. And you will be able to see all of the road connectivity, the number of kilometer person we have at build, the number of ongoing construction, the number to be achieved.
Are you capacity to doing that?
It is capital intensive. The Veterans Bureau, we are a group of young people that are willing. For one fact, no one call us to this. We see ourselves in this government. While it is true that we are not getting the meager resources to help of this project, it's on national because we don't want this revenue. This is our own. The next year, we are not in power. I see myself as the next representative of this country. I'm seeing myself as senator of those countries. I'm seeing myself as senator of great. So I say, as chair of the Veterans. The legacy we speak for us. This revolution is now we are present.
Let's move on now.
So this magazine, we are more let's say 5 access because we are really tracking all of us. We are doing the internet. We need to do service. It is capital intensive.
That's exactly what I'm saying. It's really capital intensive.
We are really calling on for support because what we are all about is what
We want to move on now. We bring it up. You say you had
Of the intellectual discourse.
intellectual discourse community. It sells as well. Let's begin the conversation. In the next 2 minutes, you want to tell us your overall perspective about the opposition community, how they have governed themselves in recent time, whether or not are those individuals trustworthy of the Liberian people's confidence.
Let me dispel some of the arguments that people are moving around in the political corridors of our country. The fact here is that this is VP Bwaka who have told the Liberian people that when he was serving as vice president for 12 years, they have squandered the Liberian people's money. So he has no more upright to come to the discourse to say he wants to lead this country, because we have done our survey and evaluation. It tells us that we need people who are morally upright, who have the ability to lead the Liberian people with trust and confidence. That's the reason why we want to say on this platform that VP Bwaka is not a competitor to President Dr. George Manneh Weah. We know when President Weah was in the Senate, we know his role. When the president became president in this country, we know some of the work he has started. as a chairperson of the Veterans Bureau intimated that this president has been very magnanimous in ensuring that he has been able to construct the Dole Community Road as one of his first projects, which is welcoming. The president did not also stop there. The tuitions of the free tuition policy that has been introduced at the University of Liberia. That's the reason why we joined some of our colleagues at the University of Liberia calling on this legislature that there's a need. They must be able to pass this tuition policy that will enable our students, Liberian students, enroll at the University of Liberia on a free of charge basis. And what besides, this president has also been able to ensure that there's a need. The very communities road are being paved. For the first time in the history of this country, our community, our district was being left abandoned during the regime of former President Johnson Sirleaf.
That's after 12 years.
We have advocated over the years. We have talked to the issues on national radio. Still, the president at the time was very hesitant. Mana Sirleaf would not listen to the people of Dole community.
But then Joe Bwaka was there.
To the people of District 14. Mr. Bwaka was with Mana Sirleaf. He was dying with Mana Sirleaf at the time. Could not have listened to the plight of the ordinary masses of our people. And he has come to the discourse to say he wants to be president of this country. He must check himself.
Intellectually, how can we criticize the statement, the testimony of Ambassador Bwaka, of which he admitted that while it's true that we have a lot of opportunities that could transform the lives of Liberians by this time, opportunities that could take Liberia on another path. But honestly, we have those opportunities wasted. Some of us, we misused those opportunities. Intellectually this time, how can we treat such a statement with them?
If Mr. Bwaka was sincere to himself from the onset of his government at the time, he would have been able to have told the Liberian people that Mana Sirleaf is using the people's money. But instead to have come in down money because you want to buy sympathies, it does not make any sense. There is no logic in his thought. There is no logic in his argument. When he comes to this kind of discourse, he must come with sincerity. He must be able to tell the Liberian people, say, look, this is what I can do. But not to want to, buy sympathy because you want to be president. There are several reasons why we decided to support President Dr. George Mormimg re-election.
And exactly, we'll move straight on now because I've been told that we press with 9 o'clock, we'll have a pay for interview. Definitely have to do it. So we'll move on now. Let's begin with some of the reasons why
there are several reasons why we've decided to support this president re-election bid. One has to do with the president has ensured that doctors and nurses of this country were taken out of here to advance their educations in medicine, so as to come back to be able to contribute towards the growth and development of this country, which is very remarkable for all of us as a country and as a people. The president, under his stewardship, was able to have constructed a more than 14 military hospital. You are aware. The president did not also stop there. He has been able to have constructed the Emirates Hospital in Babolu County, for example. The president did not also stop there. The president had constructed a lot of roads around this country. The Michael Pakada Francis Road, the Dole Community Road, and all of Philos Road in Liberia and its surrounding are all remarkable progress and strides being made by this government. And these are gigantic projects that have been executed by this president. That's the reason why he must be re-elected.
Let's begin. I want us to have a segment by segment, so have an understanding. I want to begin with the roads issue. You want to tell us what the impacts of those roads? Especially like you want to reference the Dole Community Road, for instance. You want to reference the Michael Pakala, for instance, and across other roads, the roads constructed by this government. You want to tell us how are those interventions beneficial to the people?
Thank you. Somebody will argue and want to say that the role of the community had no economic impact. We have just witnessed the road work being carried out by the Ministry of Public Works around the Freeport area, and that which had created serious traffic congestions and what have you. So by that, the police had ensured that those who live in Barnardsville must be able to use the Dole
The
Community
Dole
Route.
community route.
Those who live in Douala should be able to use the Dole Community Route, right? These are economic viability to the forward march and progress of every country. Dole community over the past time, and continue to emphasize on Dole community because Dole community should be used as a case study in this discourse. The Dole community over the years, when we were in school 2011, 2010, 2011, we have had a lot of challenges. We have not had access to road, for example. And people were not, there have been no flow of goods and services at the time. People were strangulated in terms of getting coal, in terms of getting rice, in terms of getting other cooking utensils and what have you. People have not had access to these things because of the bad road conditions. So through the intervention of this president, today we have a rule that Dole community, when you get around along the Bekube Avenue, you will tend to realize that a lot of people who are now investing into businesses along the Dole community route, they are building gigantic structure in that area. So which is very much remarkable for the progress and forward march of our country. Somebody will want to argue and say the Dole community road and all of Fido road has no economic impact. They are erroneous. And they must come to the discourse with sincerity. These are roads that will continue to help our people, because once you have access to road connectivity, there will be a flow of goods and services into the communities, into the country. You find out that people who have money who want to invest into businesses and what have you in this area. Because road alone is one of the ways in which people can channel their goods. People can channel their businesses in terms of growth, economic growth. So we
You want
must
to tell us?
understand.
You want to tell us how it would have been, right? Because after the 12 years of the Serif administration, that road was still just the same. I can recall sometimes back I had a time to visit that area before that road was constructed. We know the constraint faced by dwellers in that area.
Sure.
You want to tell us how it would have been till now if George, that's President Weah, would have been fast-sighted and to understand that the bureau plays a very, 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 very major impact to the lives of the over 100,000 inhabitants in Dole community.
Let me say this for the record, that the people of Dole community were left abandoned by the then Manasseh administration. And based on our continuous advocacies, this president was in the Senate. The late Mabudu Vlayimpan was at the legislature at the time. So he has followed all of our advocacies over the years. When he was appointed by this president, he came to the community and we engaged him. He said there's a need. I will call on this president so as to ensure that the president makes an intervention in your community, in your district. So it was through that means of which President Dr. George Mormimg Liberia had decided to have made the Dole Community Project as his first project when he took over in 2018. So now, somebody would want to argue to say, oh, the president had decided to build Dole Community because he hailed from the slum. I want to agree with them, because a person who had not hampered this ambition over the years to say, I want to become president, knowing that the president hailed from the slum and there's a need, he understands the difficulties that the people face with. So that's the reason why he has decided to make this kind of intervention, so as to alleviate the people from poverty to at least a better life. You getting it? Because access to road will alleviate the people from poverty. And that's the reason why this president has ensured that today the people of Dole community now have a role, and not only that, cut across the country, there are a lot of feeder roads that have been constructed so as to ensure that Liberia is on the right trajectory. Yes. So lastly, we have come to the discourse to reaffirm our commitment and to inform the Liberian people that the Veterans Bureau of Liberia remains supportive to this government based on all of the progress that we have witnessed by this president, that this president is making all effort to ensure that the people of this country must be alleviated from poverty and they must live a better life. And that's the reason why the president has ensured that students must go to school on a free of charge basis. Right? Over the years, some of us, when we were in high school, we pay wise fees. Unlike now, the students are no longer paying wise fees. It is not a progress, and somebody will say, "Oh, the president should not be re-elected."
Let's get back
He must be dreaming.
let's get back to the first order. Like he said, he's been referred. I mean, as per the chain of command. You want to tell us now all of what you outline, some of the progress of the government. I mean, the way the opposition community has governed themselves in recent times, which, according to you, demonstrate that there are no reasons why Liberians should feel confident and to give these people power. We want to understand, I mean, you can provide for us on this platform. How do you envision the next President George Weah after this administration, right? Given a chance that if he's re-elected, I mean, are you confident that President George Weah will continue on this what he has started?
So before we reach into that, I want to make this case because President Weah re-election, there are factors that will lead to the successful victory. Veteran Bureau as an institution was organized, established with a conviction by ourselves, with no motivation for anyone to support this government. The first thing we are the oldest institution established with a free mindset to support this government. But on the contrary, and there are plans on our docket to ensure that we campaign for the re-election of our president. While it is true, we are saying that the opposition, they are weak, they don't reach their own rhetorics, but there are few things I want us to understand. We must reach down to all of those that are supporting this government. Using Veterans Bureau as a case study. It is sad to note that we organized this president magazine. We have communicated with government officials. We have communicated with those who feel that needs to help us in achieving this magazine. But up to present, it is to no avail. To even get out to do our site visit of all of the projects we have captured online, it is giving us difficult time. To even get almost all of the logistics to get this project ongoing, it is giving us tough time. OP got to give his own resources. Steven got to contribute. Abraham Canning got to contribute. Joe, and the rest of members that are operating on their mega resources. It is being difficult for us. So for us to invade this person, we are 2029. After President we are 22. After President we are 2023 veteran. We must work with all institutions. Okay. That's
an appeal to the president and of course.
We need to do this. We are not pushing for anything harder because no one called us to this. We saw this as our own. We saw this as our own revolution, but we need to be complimented. We want to appreciate those that are coming, those that are wanting to strive to help, the volunteers from the Veterans Bureau. But one thing we want to say is that we need assistance. We need to be reached out to. The Veterans Bureau will be committed in supporting this government. We owe nobody apologies. Nobody called into this. But we need to be supported.
How do you see the chances of President George Weah?
The chances of President George Weah re-election. President Weah took over this country without building a single road. The Liberian people trusted him. The Liberian people gave President Weah this presidency without sharing blood, without getting involved into dubious acts, based on his peaceful conduct, based on his track record, based on his love for country. The Liberian trusted this president. Now, within 6 years' time, one of the edge that President Weah has over the group of want to be, one, it is his mind towards humanity, taking into consideration the number of development, taking into consideration the number of human capacity building, taking into consideration the level of openness into governance, taking into consideration the bridging of the gap between the rich and the poor. We are not saying that all is rosy. There are challenges. And what are some of the major challenges? Some government officials, that would have the Veterans Bureau, technical and civil team are working to ensure that we will need and shame those of whom are working in this government and trying to undermine this president. There are people in the system, like for instance, we will do that. Like I said, I don't want to jump the gun. We were doing tracking and go to some government ministry and to just tell us some of your achievement that you have done over the years. Some of the guys they try shying or shocking us out. You're getting here, in this place now. So there are people in the system that are undermining the system. The first thing
do you believe that?
I know so. I know so. Reaching from the fact that Ministry of Post and Telecommunication, former boss were able to publicly get in the public
to declare some opposition. Why he's still
in the government. You see as a case study. So
you believe that there are more of those elements?
There are more. So what we want to do is to work as a team. We are calling on us to ensure that every one of us, all hands get on deck. Election is about numbers. Election is about numbers. The guys are crafty. The guys are doing everything humanly possible to demonize this president. The veteran responsibility and all other well-meaning government officials who wanted to see this government achieve is to be able to sharpen the contradiction.
We move on. We'll take a few calls. Take a few calls up until 9 o'clock. 0770907907 088090797 are the numbers. We'll take a few calls. This person is right here. Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Let's hear you.
Yeah, this is my sister. I'm calling from Tesco number 14.
Go ahead, Mercy. Go ahead.
I appreciate my sister chat this morning for her analysis. I want to applaud him this morning. You see, personally, we are going for 12 years. Reason being, local development connectivity and the free tuition policy. So there is no need for the opposition to be lazy today to say, oh, we're not carrying President William or so what. So let me applaud the question saying, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you. We take more calls 0770907907. 08809079007 are the numbers. We take 1 or 2 calls. Yep. We are pressed with time. This person. Good morning. Good morning. Come on, right? Lost out. 07709079007. 08809079007. Adding numbers. To call, we do it like this up to 9 o'clock. Yeah, we'll go for a break. We'll return to bring you the second segment of our show. All right, here. This is Good Morning. Good morning, Liberia, on the voice of Liberia. Oh, my word. And just noise about this line. All right. Hello. Good morning. All right, what is happening? But we'll move on the chair. It's good to get back to you. I begin out of what you mentioned, and it's good we have these kinds of conversations. The Veteran Bureau sees itself as one of the supportive arm to government in his so win President George to re-elections. One of the things you mentioned strongly is about support. So it leaves one person wondering as to how will you go about achieving this on an environment that you are not being supported currently?
So this is the major challenge of the Veterans Bureau. Like we said, no one calls us to this. No one. And with the meager resources, I think you know how we are sitting on your platform.
I know.
So I don't need to overemphasize. It is based on conviction. It is based on passion. For years plus, we have not had a direct support from government to say this is what we can give to the Veterans Bureau. And our support, it is not based on what we will receive. It's not based on what we receive. Our focus here is President we are re-election. What we can do as a team to complement our effort. What we can get as a backing, as a support, as a force to achieve this. Our major focus, our major worry is this president achievement magazine. This is the Veterans Bureau plan. This is our thought. Because we're going to Bologna, we're going to Joya in Grand Group. We're going to Bakedu in Foya. Our argument is we want to distribute this booklet. Look at this, look at page 10, look at page 11, and see this is what President we have done. In terms of reform in government, look at page 11, look at page 16, look at page this. This is what we envisage. We want to carry tangibles, show them material evidence, show them the achievement of this president, show them the good deeds of this president. Because we don't just say in words. Over the time, we have said it out. We want to carry fact, we want to carry documentary evidence to the people. So the Veterans Bureau major focus, our major thought, our major worry is from now, because we have just close to 3 months to election. Because we Veterans will not cross across because we don't have the logistics, we don't have the ability. We use motorbike to come in here. We don't have the resources to reach out across Liberia. But when the magazine is launched, it's completed. This president magazine is completed.
Okay.
We can distribute it. We are taking up everything in 5 counties.
In 5 counties.
Okay. If being supported by our own.
Okay, sorry, folks, we didn't take any calls again here. This is Brevin who take any call. We are pressed with time. And gentlemen, before we take leave of you, it is good that you honor our invite. Yet I must say this. I extended this invitation on a very short notice. In less than 24 hours when I reached out, you guys were able to appear. That's great enough of you. Quickly before we take leave, gentlemen, let's hear you wrap it up, beginning with OP, and lastly, the chairman will close up.
Well, thanks for the invite, and we look forward to having more of this conversation, and we want to inform the key government and architectures that the Veterans Bureau of Liberia is constrained. A few months back, we were able to have conducted the citizen perception survey, where we took our microphone in the communities, in the different communities, so as to propagate government programs and policy. We would like to be very clear here that we've come to reaffirm our commitment, because this is what we started over the years. We were warned by the lot of work and progress being made by this government, by this president. That's the reason why we have decided to support this president on the basis of our conviction. We were not forced to have come up with this. We were the first group of institutions in this country, the first group of people, group of young people to have started, raising the debate in promoting government programs and policy, especially during the last few years. So the Veterans Bureau of Liberia is one of Liberia's outstanding, political institutions that is moved in supporting this government, in supporting this president.
Okay.
I'd like to say thank you for the invite.
Okay, we'll leave you right there. Quickly, the chairperson we wrap up in just few minutes. Definitely, we are pressed with time.
Let me say thanks very much for the opportunity. Let me say thanks to the family of us Liberia that I started on in my intro. I'm so impressed. This is my first time appearing on your show. For a young Liberian to be very innovative, I must appreciate the CEO and manager.
Oh, thank you.
We look forward to see many young people being more innovative. The next thing we want to see from the angle of the Veterans Bureau of Liberia is all we have. Person we are that we support today, he has zero history of getting involved in violence. There is life after today. This election, we want to condemn every young people from the ruling party down to cut across the opposition. We must engage into the process with a mindset of Liberia coming first, putting our country first. We condemn the violence against the Queen Church in every form and manner. We are young people. There's person we have zero history of violence. So we want to follow said person. You must be able to follow the history
On the basis of ideas.
Of ideas
Okay.
that the Veteran Bureau is doing now. When you feel someone is spraying rhetorics, go and do your research. Come out and provide facts. We want to call on young people. We the young people. This country belongs to us. We must stay out of violence. That is the message the Veterans Bureau. We want to condemn it in the strongest possible term.
Okay.
We are young people. This country, after the next 10, 15 years, the old fools will wear away. The future depends on us.
Definitely.
And we must hold it, protect it, and maintain it with everything we have. We want to say we condemn it in the strongest possible term. We call on government officials. We call on those guys from the opposition committee. Let us engage into this process with the peace. Like I listen to
We gotta go.
the quote unquote
we gotta
rescue
go.
too. He admitted on one of the national platforms to say, President, we has been one of the most peaceful person he ever knew. Let us follow the footsteps of our leader. Thank you very much.
And hey, thanks so kindly. He has been our guest on this first segment here from the community veteran period of that period has been our guest. Definitely, we ought to go. Definitely, we have to go on the first segment of the show. Go for this break. TEDxL Liberia is our sponsor. We have to go for this break to be right back.
Are you tired with slow internet? Do you want super fast and affordable internet? TEDxL Liberia is here to provide all your internet service needs. The internet is moving at a fast pace, and only super fast internet speed can help you keep up. At TEDxL, our internet packages are divided into distinct categories: Mega, Optimal, Premium, Elite, and Big Business that suits kids, universities, schools, hotels,
Cool FM, and with the hosts of our other community radio stations. We're going to get their names as well, and they're relaying as well the program. And we're going to have a conversation here, and you don't want to miss it. Lots of things we're going to be talking, we're going to be looking at. So that is it for you. It's good. On the early morning, I want to say thank you to Harris, who's been on the show this morning. And this is a special interview, by the way. Kelvin, you're back.
Yes, better to be like making sure my programs, my interactions are recorded. Yeah, because you live in an era where people are quickly to say, I didn't say so.
And
So
you
it's
said
very
that about me.
Yeah, sure. So it's very important to say, to have the evidence or the pieces of evidence, readily in your possession. But it's good to be here. I've been here before, Siku, but it's my first time since you got relocated. The first time was just a stone throw ahead of on the other side of the road. I appeared, and I'd like to say thanks to you and the entire team, the management, for the kind of marvelous work done here. It's rare, for people at our levels, to commend people for the kind of work, that they do. So I'm one person, who like to put it, squarely and bluntly, when it is done. I like the kind of work done here. A young man like you, we must celebrate you, and we must say that, we are very proud. I'm very, very proud of you. Someone who is an emerging journalist, a very young man, with the tenacity, the fortitude, and
Sure.
yeah. Thanks so very kindly for the works done here. I cannot sit and start this show out without appreciating you for the kind of work done here. I must admit.
Certainly, and we're very committed to do and continue to do our best.
And I've not seen my brother for a very long time. There was a frequency of his appearances, back then at 101.1 FM. I'm not sure I've hosted him since I matriculated to a Prime Communications Network. I hope, with the kind of development being done there now, we can have his voice, on that microphone as soon as possible. But it's my pleasure having you here.
Certainly, and let me just re-announce this, that this interview is being relayed on Prime FM, Heart FM, Cool FM. We want to say thank you, and I think some other community radio stations will have their names. But we want to inform you, our special guest here this morning is Minister Wilfred Bangura. He comes from the Ministry of Commerce. He once used to be from the MDR, but this morning he joins us as we talk about much more critical national issues on this radio. Want to say good morning to you. It feels good to see you.
It feels very wonderful to be here. And I should say again, at the very outset, how enamored I am over the progress that has been made here under your leadership, that you have set out to build a mega media empire. This is something that must be commended by all those who love progress. And I'd like to correct my friend, Calvin. We have met, we have had a convo at Prime.
Oh, really?
Absolutely.
That's why I said
and
I
I will be looking forward to the new Prime. I'm just proud of you guys. You're so young, great visionaries, great state actors, and you have made tremendous investment in the progress of the nation state, and as well as the growth of the media in the Republic. Thank you very much to the Voice of Liberia for tendering this great invitation. And it feels really, really wonderful and marvelous to be in the presence of these two astute and towering journalists in this country.
How has it been And I know my colleague Sipu was struggling, to identify which side you are. But at least we know in the media that, as told to us by the MRD, that you've been expelled,
Yeah, sure.
from the party. How have you greeted that?
And so, I was smiling when he was struggling to find which side I belong to. Really, Sekou, I belong to the MDR. You know that process which was announced is a quasi judicial arrangement.
I don't want us to run into that. Let's set the basis first.
I
We will
so for the purposes of your introduction, let it be known that I come from the MDR. I just wanted to lay that premise. I know that during the course of this program, we have more time to lay upon the various contradictions and my immediate response or reiteration of my response to that so-called quack, and quack travesty of justice. I know I will have time to do that, but from the very outset, let's know that I am still with the MDR.
Good. I'm still with the MDR. So, first of all, we want to know how is the Ministry of Commerce?
It's doing very well. We have a very astute stateswoman who is at the helm of that ministry. I speak of the Honorable Mawani G. Diggs, a wonderful visionary leader. So we're doing well. We're proud of what we've achieved under her leadership, and we're looking forward to achieving even more under her very astute and flammable leadership.
You want to talk about what the ministry has done in terms of the smaller businesses in the country. You listen to people who talk at times and say, oh, things are not really well with these smaller businesses in the country. What has the ministry, been able to do in terms of looking after the liberalization in a sense where Liberian businesses should be, prioritized in a sense they cannot live from this sector?
One of the foremost priority of Madam Diggs is to grow Liberian businesses. And there are 3-4 challenges that they have been engulfed with: access to finance, access to market, and capacity building or capacity development. So these 3 areas are of serious concern to Madam Minister. And so throughout her leadership, she is constantly and consistently looking for avenue whereby Liberian businesses will be able to grow, make strides, and make progress. So some of the areas she's making direct intervention is in the area of access to finance. So you heard about the LIFT project, you heard about the Propo loan, or these are grants. Some of them are loans that I put at the disposal of SMEs to be able to have access to finance to grow their businesses. And the other thing is that you realize that most businesses are operating in the informal sector, and part of our goal and work is to migrate these businesses from the informal sector into the formal sector. And she is working very hard to automate the business registry so that you can stay in any part of the world and apply for business registration, and it should be done with ease. In the areas of processing of trade documents, she has also delivered on that to ensure that your documents wouldn't have to linger for days at the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. There's now quicker turnover period than before, than yesteryears. So a lot of transformation are going on. She's been concerned about low wages for inspectors, and so she's made some interventions in those areas, significant interventions, I should say, in those areas. And so there are challenges there, that's correct, but she is prepared to confront and defeat those challenges. She has her able deputies, and she is leading very, very well. We're very pleased of her leadership, and our job is to give her all the support to deliver on her administration's vision.
Certainly. So now let's move on to this entire MDR. A person like you, everyone understand you've been part of the formation. How did it come about? You want to give us the entire history of MDR?
Absolutely. The the MDR is my brainchild. It's like a baby to me. I have never been so inextricably yoked and linked to any political party during its formation than I have been with the MDR. The MDR was born as a result of the demise of the NUDP. As you may recall, the NUDP was established by Senator Johnson. I wasn't really around for the formation of that party, but I later joined in 2011. I participated in the convention of the NUDP in Ban City, in Nimba County. I did not prevail. I went on to participate in the elections. Immediately after the election, I was running for the House of Representatives. I did not prevail. I achieved a lot of experience, great personal achievements, and so I'm proud of what I achieved from that election in 2011. I got a call from Senator Johnson one afternoon that he would like to see me, and I was surprised at the call, so I immediately decided to proceed to see him. And I went. He welcomed me at his home. He asked me that to work with him in the NUDP.
Was it in Monrovia or in Nimba?
In Monrovia. He said to me, he followed my work, my advocacy. He thought that I would be able to clearly and properly articulate the manifesto of the NUDP and his political strategy and vision for the country. And so I accepted very warmly, very readily, and very blithely to work with him. And so we commenced upon that political journey together back in 2011. We went to a convention in Ganta. I was elected as the assistant national secretary for press and propaganda at the Ganta convention. We returned to Monrovia and we began party work. And then there was some rancor in the party, dissatisfaction, contentions in the party that tend to stall the progress of the party. And a lot of people were remonstrating and making allegations against the senator. It all sprung from the backdrop of the runoff election in 2011. They accused the senator of having received monies from former President Sirleaf to settle down for her and to support her in the runoff election. So I was new, so I was still learning, you know. And I remember those days, they became so heated. A lot of debates were all around the place until there was time for another convention, which was scheduled in 2013. And the venue was in Grand Bassa County. That convention was convened at the Grand Bassa High School. I vividly remember I had gone there along with a team of fellow colleagues, partisans from the NUDP, and we were vying for various posts in the party. I was now running for Secretary General of the party, and a lot of colleagues were running for different positions. And I remember vividly the then Secretary General of the NUDP, Metris Gunty, went on public radio and he challenged Senator Johnson that if he were to attend the convention, they would have him flogged. And the former Justice Minister, Christian Atta, and others, the Bassa Legislative Caucus, convened and pleaded with Senator Johnson not to attend because they didn't want any sort of situation in the county. And so reason prevailed, he stayed. So we went to that convention, but the organizers of the convention had a set agenda. The agenda was to expel the senator from his party. And that year, the chairman of the convention committee was Representative Jeremiah Cone. He was working very closely with Rich Stewart. He was working with Metris Gunty, Melly Kimon, the rest of the guys who were Bauko, who was the chairman. So the rest of the guys were on one side, and we were on the other side. But we were outnumbered and out-strategized by the guys. We went there to the convention and we participated, but But unfortunately, of course, we did not reveal. In fact, the delegates were kept in a separate place. They were hugely influenced. They were dollarized, and there was no democracy at that convention, and there was no debate. We tried to agitate. Our voices were silenced. We were not heard because, like I said, we were outnumbered. And so the process happened, and we did not win. None of us won. Those of us who were from the side of the senator, none of us won. And so the guys prevailed. That night at 2 p.m., they had come with a prepared resolution, which the new leadership that was just elected immediately signed, expelling Senator Johnson from the NDP. And so I told my colleagues, I said, I don't think we can bear this kind of ignominy. We will not be able to sleep here. It's good that we just go back to Monrovia. We were depressed. We were frustrated. We were disconfabulated. And we thought that everything was gone. And remember, I had just come into the process very new and very young. So we returned to town. We had a meeting with the senator on June 2nd. And then we started to re-strategize. What we came up with was that we were...
It is in 2011.
2013.
2013
by then. And we came and strategized and said, okay, what we're going to do since we've lost the party, we need to have a kind of group, a kind of pressure group that will continue to rally around you and rally our base in order to ensure that you continue to wield the necessary political influence in line with your status and with your office. So we established the Friends of PYJ. And the guys asked me to be this official spokesperson for the Friends of PYJ to articulate the vision and the leadership agenda of the senator throughout this country. The chairman of the Friends of PYJ was Dr. Kanama. And then Madam Louise Macmillan Siawe was the chairlady, and Mr. Leo Nesco was the youth chair. So we met periodically at the PYJ school right here at LBS where the church is. We met there many times, strategizing how can we fight back. At that time the party was gone, and so we were now contemplating on establishing a new brand party. That was where the whole vision for the MDRO was born, and I was asked to start the paperwork that will be necessary for the establishment of this party. So we wrote the application to the National Elections Commission. We followed all of the procedures. So I became the organizing Secretary General of the MDR. And I signed as one of the incorporators. The party has 5 incorporators, and I'm one of those. So I signed as one of the incorporators. And the center asked me to also play the role of registered agent of the MDR. So I was on the Constitution Committee as the chairman of the Constitution Committee. We wrote the Constitution. So we did all the paperwork and everything that is necessary to be done for the establishment of a political party. So we were engaged with the party, and then we went on to find a suitable headquarters for the party. And so I was in touch with Dr. Kelekume Mori, and I knew that the location at Congo Town, Dr. Mori had leased that place, and it was not in use. So I went to him and talked to him and told him that we have a new party that we have just established. We're looking for party headquarters, and I know that you leased this place from the Earlys, Deacon Early from First Baptist Church, the Early family. The old man was there; he passed away now. So we went to meet with Deacon Early, and then we went right down to Galawu Law Firm, and we had Councilor Kandakai, who drafted the lease agreement. It was reviewed by the late Councilor Zio Mesa, and then we started engagement from there. So this history is necessary to let you know how engaged I have been with these processes. And so when we got certificated by the National Elections Commission in 2016, we went to convention in Ganta. And then I was elected as Secretary General of the MDR officially. The senator was elected as the standard bearer and political leader, and then we had Moses Zia, who was elected as the chairman. And then we started our political processes from there. So I consider the MDR as my baby, as my brainchild, and I believe that it is part of me. It's part of my ontology, so that I cannot in any way detach myself so easily from that institution. And that is why when people come up and act purely out of emotionalism and immaturely say that we are expelling this man, especially strangers, people who do not know the history and the struggles of the MDRO, the challenges that we went through, the intimidation to establish this institution, and it makes me to just wonder. And somebody says, I just laugh because you cannot come and descend upon the institution that we have sacrificed our all on the altar, and you think you can oust us is in a faction that resembles a kind of kangaroo tribunal or kind of jungle justice style, and we will sit there and accept that kind of travesty of justice without taking recourse to the law, and this is not us. We are determined to have our rights restored, and we are still inextricably hooked up and linked up with the MDRO. We're part of the MDRO, and we're going to go back to fight for the salvation and redemption of our party. We think our party has been invaded. It's been invaded by people with chauvinistic and selfish visions. It's been invaded by people who are merchants, people who see anything as commodities to buy and sell. And our party has been bought, but it's not beyond redemption. We just bemourn the situation of fellow MDRNs, some of whom were with us during the struggle days, who have transformed themselves into mere robotics. They've lost their reason. They have allowed themselves to be purchased so cheaply that they will look at founding members of that great institution and side with these strangers to say, these guys are ousted from the party. It's a sad thing, but we are not going to allow that kind of chicanery or mockery to stand.
Mr. Bangura, I listened to the why the NUDP, so the NUDP was transformed later into the NDR rather, and of all of what you've said, I'm concerned about the confirmation from the angle of the NDR that you've been expelled from the party. Did they tell you in that communication? First, did they communicate to you? Through what medium did they communicate to you? And what did they say? Through whatever mediums that they communicated on why were you expelled?
Okay, so let me talk about the so-called quack expulsion. Let me state plainly for the public that there's something called due process of the law. When you accuse somebody of committing a crime that should warrant a penalty, expulsion in their mind, there must be due process of the law. But nobody ever called any of us due process. On January 28th, immediately following the convention was in December 23rd last year. January 28th this year, the chairman of the governing council, Senator Johnson, convened a meeting of the executive committee at his home, and he presided over the meeting, and the co-presiding was Senator Kuhn. They both sat in the meeting, and they said that because I have declared to support the re-election of the president, I should be expelled at that meeting, at that executive committee meeting. The transcript of the meeting clearly showed remarks that were made by nearly every executive committee member, taking sides with them, agreeing with them that I should be immediately expelled from the party because I have stated that I will be supporting the re-election of the president at that meeting. And then at that same meeting, the senator mandated the would-be board of inquiry he will be setting up. He mandated that board to ensure that I am expelled from the party at that same January 28th meeting. Then they went on to set up the board. The board comprised of people who work in Senator Kuhn's offices, his office staffers, a lot of them were there, a bunch of them on the committee. and then other people who have strong views who will support their argument that I should be expelled from the party became members of the committee. And so then that committee wrote me a letter. And I had obtained the minutes or the transcript of that meeting. I reviewed the transcript. I was not invited to the meeting, by the way. And I reviewed the transcript and I saw that all these committee members were people who said X, Y, and Z, and all of them were with the view that because I said I would support the president's re-election, I should be expelled. I wrote them back and I told them that you have violated a number of articles of our constitution, and I cited 21 violations. And I also went on to argue that all of the committee members were conflicted, and I attached a copy of the transcript of the January 28th meeting. I attached it to my correspondence to them. That if you reviewed this correspondence, each of you said this, you said this, you said that. How can you now become the new judges that will preside over a trial, and I will expect fair justice out of the proceedings? So I challenge the integrity of the committee and the independence of the committee. I wrote them. They did not write me back. The next thing I heard was that I was being suspended. I wrote the National Elections Commission, and I stated to the National Elections Commission that I have figured, and I got good reasons to believe that my rights were about to be abused, and I needed them to get involved with the restoration of my rights. I have all of these correspondences in my file. I did not get a reply from the National Elections Commission, but I have the returns on my file. Then the next thing I heard was that I am expelled from the institution. So I look upon all of these proceedings as a form of jungle justice. It reminds me of 1990, where people would not be served, would not be heard, and would not be allowed due process. People raise concerns about people who are conflicted, and nobody says anything about it. And this is supposed to be a democratic institution, and we arbitrarily expelled people from the party because of sentiment. But let me talk about the hypocrisy of all of this. In 2017,
we will reach to that point. I'm going to ask you, was Senator Kuhn part of the formation of MDR?
No, he was never.
When did he?
He joined the MDR in 2016 after we have been certificated by the National Elections Commission, and he was vying again to be re-elected in District Number 1 as representative. And it's very interesting. After he presided over the expulsion of Senator Johnson of the NUDP, they sat there, the National Elections Commission checked the accounts of the ex-wild NUDP. There was no funds there, and it was delisted and decertificated. So it was dissolved, and they had no more political party. When we established the MDR, he came back to us begging that he wanted to join us and he wanted to run.
You mean Senator Kuhn?
He did, yes.
At that time, Representative Kuhn.
At that time, Representative Kuhn. And his first term was about to be expired. So he needed to run again to succeed himself in office. So he needed a political party. He came back to us. We opened our arms and we accepted him. And we nominated him. I was the Secretary General. I nominated him along with the chairman. We signed his papers and we sent it to the National Elections Commission. So he became a candidate
on the MDR.
So he came back to the MDR and we accepted him. One day. So, but the hypocrisy I want to talk about was that, so according to them, according to the so-called expulsion, I'm being expelled because I have announced to support the president in an election wherein the MDR does not have a candidate. My party does not have a candidate in this election. The convention of last year laid the basis and authorized the party and authorized the new standard bearer to run for presidency. And he reneged on that, and he decided to run to lobby his way to become vice running mate to Joseph Wakai. So in this instance, I decided that I would be supporting the president because I believe that I have reasonable grounds to support the president in light of the fact that the president has delivered tremendously on his mandate. And I will continue to support the president. But then the same man In 2017,
Wilfred, because this is what I want, because we have
I'm trying to
people
land,
listening,
I'm
right?
landing on my thought here. You're trying to cut me off. I hope they will get a connection.
They will definitely get a connection there, right? First of all, we want to know, were there arrangements between the MDR and the CDC, where we saw the MDR supporting the CDC?
Absolutely, there was, but look, I want to land on this thought about the hypocrisy. Then I will come to that.
Okay.
So here's why I thought the hypocrisy. 2017, this same Jeremiah Cohn supported Joseph Boakai in the first round and in the second round for president. Even though he was running on the MDR's ticket, he did not support the MDR's candidate. Prince Johnson was running for president. He did not support.
Jeremiah Kwanku.
Jeremiah Kwanku, did not support Prince Johnson. The records are there. Prince Johnson complained about this to us many times, and we told him that, look, the man is exercising his democratic rights.
But did he state why?
He did not state why. He was not caught, he was not probed, he was not suspended, he was not expelled. We allowed him to carry it on. We thought that he was exercising his democratic rights. He did not support his candidate. He became political.
But what did you hear on the sidelines?
Well, he was clear that he was supporting Joseph Boakai. And to me, it was not a surprise because I saw him presiding over a convention that expelled Senator Johnson. I thought that we were hard to learn our lessons, that this man does not build institutions. He joins institutions and he tries to dissolve them and break them down. So it was not a big surprise to me. Okay.
Are there instances? Are there true of evidence?
I just told you the role he played. This NUDP took this man on white ballot in Bank City at that convention, at that primaries, and he became representative on the backs of the NUDP. Then he served as convention committee chairperson. That expelled the senator from his own party. Then the party got dissolved. He came back and joined the MDR.
So in short, there's nothing in the constitution of the MDR that forbids anyone of supporting the candidature of another person that is contesting for the presidency once you people are not feeding a candidate for the presidency.
Absolutely. In this states, Article 12 that you can support another political party.
Okay.
In this instance, we're supporting an individual, we're supporting the president. In fact, we're supporting the president when we do not even have a candidate. He supported a presidential candidate when he had a candidate.
Okay.
And we did not expel him. We did not probe him. We exercising the same rights he exercised. Yeah, I was in a more moderate way, and you see the vindictiveness, you see the anger, you see the acrimony, you see the ploy, you see the imagination, you see how he's come up and told the guys expel them from the party. So are these traits of a leader who is supposed to govern a country that has a constitution? Are these people going to respect the rights of dissent without throwing people into prison? Can we guarantee the safety of this democracy under these cohorts of individuals who wouldn't stand a single moment of disagreement, even on reasonable grounds, even disagreements that do not flaunt the Constitution, but yet out of emotionalism and their vindictiveness, they will instruct the people to expel them? Can you see the looming danger hovering over the republic if you give these kinds of people power? So this is why I said this is a travesty of justice, which must not be allowed to stand. Now let me talk about the agreement you mentioned.
Because I know that you were part of almost all the arrangements and all of that, playing out and being one of the major players. Were there arrangements between the MDR and the CDC?
There was. I was on the negotiation team.
Okay.
From outside. Madam Audrey Smith-Forbes, the current DMA from Even Sports, myself, and others led our delegation, and we engaged with Councillor Charles Gibson, Professor Tape, and others from the CDC side. And we did a little research, and we said, listen, we're going to give you support. After we made a decision to support to endorse the president during the second round, we said, okay, so the way to proceed is that we have interest, and our party will be interested in a number of slots in the government, and if we can have an agreement on those, we'll be now better positioned to do the endorsement. And so we negotiated for a cabinet position. We negotiated for deputy cabinet positions, assistant cabinet positions, and then we talked about ambassadorial position, which we did not tender any recommendation for. And
Specifically, which embassy?
no, there was no.
It was just an open.
Which is an open request.
Everything was open.
Okay.
There were no specifics in terms of ministries or agencies. No, there were no specifics, and so we got a cabinet position, and Kupo Kuro was recommended there. Now this Kupo Kuro was the man who had come to lobby the senator to support Joseph Boakai in 2017 runoff election. And we stood up to that and we said no, that was not going to happen. And our reason was clear that the wild wind of change was blowing across Liberia. And
That was in 2017?
In 2017, during the runoff conversation. And the president had won 13 counties. And it was very clear to us that the Liberian people wanted the president and they wanted change. And we will not oppose that change. We will be part of the change. We even argued that if we did not support the president, we would have still won the election. He would have still gone on to win. So it was very necessary at that point to be a part of that history making. And so he became mute and he left. And then, but obviously, as things turned around, he became the one to benefit enormously from that arrangement. So we got the cabinet position. And then we asked for 4 deputy ministerial positions. We got 3 out of the 4. And we asked for 6 assistant ministerial positions. We got 2. We got a position at Asula Meta.
We want you to name some of the areas so that it can be very clear to the people listening.
I'm naming these areas. You want me to call the names?
Yeah, institutions.
Right. So for the deputy ministerial position, myself, Commerce, Madam Audrey Smith Forbes is at Youth and Sports. Mr. George Abu Gunter is at Lens and Mines and Energy. He's at Mines and Energy. We have the current Secretary General of our party, Mormimg Liberia. He is the AMA at Post and Telecommunications. We had the late Zio Mesa, who was the Assistant Minister for Union Affairs at the Ministry of Labor.
Yes.
He passed away. And I think that slot was open for the Senator to make recommendation for a while. I'm not sure he's tendered anybody because he was always seen as a slot, as a senator's slot. He recommended his daughter, Deba Johnson, to the board of Asula Meta. The president appointed her to that board.
And she currently serves there.
Yes. He recommended her to that board. We have Dr. Wonkeyo, who is the Director General of Higher Education. A recommendation was made in the National Police. We have Mr. Sultan D. Tatis, who's a commissioner at LTA. We have Dr. Jesse Mongru, who's the president of the Nimba County Community College. And all of the local government offices in Nimba were all done through the recommendation of the senator, because it was part of what we asked for, that he needed to recommend people to fill in these offices in local government in Nimba. And anybody from Nimba who ever made his or her way to the president for appointment in government, the president will channel them through the senator. I go and talk to the senator, and once he recommends you to me, I will definitely appoint you into government. And so around the performance rate of that agreement, by my understanding and my analysis, it was hugely delivered on, more than 95, 96, 97%. And by that, mathematically, that was excellent delivery.
You've been one of the major players in this state.
Only buy-ins.
Most of them were Nimbaans. This party is not a Nimba party, but it is based in Nimba. It is not a Nimba party because 50% of the people in Nimba do not support the party. So it cannot be called a Nimba party, but it is a party based in Nimba. Bulk of those recommended into government were or are Nimbaans. We just have a few others from different tribal affiliations.
Well, what you said, that means, according to you, most of the arrangements were met based on the understanding. How did MDR reach a point, or are there reasons why they decided to cut off that relationship with the CDC?
So this is the juncture that really had me thunderstruck and very surprised, because all have been well until the last 6 months. All have really been well until the last 6 months. I even recall last year, July, during the birthday of the senator, he even opined that if he really had his own will, the president will go for a third term in office. I can still remember that. It's been under a year, just under a year. The relationship has been great. It's been fledgling.
He said that publicly or in confidence?
It was publicly said. I even remember he even got angry with the former Vice President Joseph Boakai when he referred to the president as a boy. The senator was so angry, and he even responded. And it's just under a year, so they have had great relationship, and we were very struck and very surprised over the sudden U-turn when we saw all the outbursts and bitterness coming out, and so we got concerned. So we went in there to ask the senator.
He said there were promises unfulfilled.
Well, so we were asking about those promises because in the context of the arrangement which I just described to you, those promises were being fulfilled. They were tremendously fulfilled. So if you look at the performance rate, it was positive, very huge overturn of that performance rate. And I know that there was a great line of communication subsisting between the two persons, between the senator and the president. And I know that they had a great relationship. So even if there were other promises which I may not have been privy to that were not fulfilled, I still believe that the senator had avenue to the president to ask for a one-on-one with him. I believe that would have been granted to look into those promises, to look into those matters, and look at them and resolve them. That's how great relationships work.
But do you think were there other promises that maybe were some of the reasons why you people joined the CDC or supported the CDC?
Beyond what I described, I do not believe that there were other promises beyond this. No, I do not believe that.
So maybe any other promises will be about personal issues, not the reason why you people supported the CDC.
But I know that even beyond the agreement, the memorandum which I just described, personally the relationship was great, and there were other personal help, gratuities, accommodations that happened beyond the letters of the memorandum. So a lot of great interventions were made. We talk about reaching out personally during bereavements or during birthday celebrations.
Now, this is the question I want to ask you because I was informed, I don't know how true it is, whenever the senator used to visit the president, were you guys being taken where maybe we're going to the president, or maybe I had a conversation with the president about the party or XYZ, or this is what the president has done? Was it that person informing you people? And the reason why I'm asking, because I was informed that the senator asked the president about his birthday and he needed, some gift in terms of finance. And the president said, Senator Johnson, I would love to do this, but it is better we go to Nimba, or I will be having a time in Nimba. We'll give you this amount, and the rest of it will do some level of investment in Nimba. And that issue brought about some, dissatisfaction. Is it truth?
No, but I know that the president made his contribution for that birthday celebration. It was very grand. He made his contribution, I know about that. We worked on that committee, on that birthday committee, and everything necessary for a grand birthday celebration in Pullman and pageantry was forthcoming. And the president even graced the birthday event personally. He went there, and it was a very great flair of friendship and of a show of great relationship. He was there, so he attended the birthday. He made contribution to the birthday, and you asked about whether we were taken to meetings. He would brief us that there will be a meeting like for us to accompany him to the meeting, but when the time came, he would leave us behind, but he would attend the meeting. So there were
He
meetings
did that
happening.
all the time.
Yeah, absolutely all the time. I mean, there was not a single meeting that we attended jointly with the president. All the meetings with the president has been by himself, but we didn't really have a problem with that because he is our leader, our political leader. He has the right to attend meetings alone, or he has the right to take along party executives. So he had not seen it appropriate, perhaps, or necessary to take with him any party official. So,
But after those meetings, does he come back and say
yeah,
the
after,
outcome?
after those meetings, he will come and say the outcome. He will come and brief. He's a very dialogical person. He will come and brief you. If you receive a call, he will say, "I received a call." He will call you. He will update you with the calls and his response. Even if there were text messages, he was able those text messages. So that's how we know that the relationship was great.
Were there at any point in time where Senator Prince Johnson was being denied by securities or anyone of meeting the president?
No, security, no, he did not complain about that. I know that he complained, and this was even publicly stated that he was being stopped by the then Minister of State, Mr. McGill, from seeing the president, and he had a problem with that. He hasn't seen the president for a few time, I think he said some years, and he didn't like that. So I have asked him that you have access to the president because you both communicate via text messages and via calls, and so you can let him to know that I would like to see you, and I believe he will be open to having a meeting with you. Have you ever done that? He said no. So I said, well then you will have to take advantage of that instead of blaming McGill from debarring you from meeting with the president. You can take upon yourself and let him to know that you would like to meet with him. I think he would be inclined to grant that request, but he didn't really foster that. I'm not sure he did that. And I'm very sure that if he had done that, a meeting would have happened. But I know that he has been meeting with the president, perhaps not at a frequency that he wanted, but again, that was still open to conversation and suggestions from him. I have no doubt that his request would have been granted at that time.
Do you think Senator Kun could be the reason for what is currently, happening with the MDR pledging of support to Unity Party, or where do you think such a problem must have come from?
The senator had a concern, about the closeness of Senator Kun with the president and with the establishment. But he had introduced Senator Kun as his walking stick to the government. We talk about the Minister of Finance, we talk about the Minister of State. He presented this man to them as his walking stick. And that's why CDC lended Senator Kun's tremendous support during his senatorial bid in Nimba. But he was having some problem with Senator Kun now taking advantage of that relationship and getting too close to the power that be, and he felt that he should really have been the one, and so he has some problem with that, and he complained about that a number of times, and he's a strategist, and he's been thinking on what he can do to disrupt that relationship, if not destroy it. And so it's not strange when I see him taking the position he's taking. I see him making Senator Kun stand a barrel of our party to run against the president, who easily now draw the lines and say this is where it all stems from. He had issues with the relationship, the fledgling relationship between Kun and the president and the president's lieutenant. So he perhaps tried to disrupt all of that, and he threw the bait, and Senator Kun took the bait, and then and so he's pulling the strings, and so it's not far-fetched why he's angry and why he's bitter and why he speaks the way he does.
Is the MDR a political party where you have, whenever you want to take decision, you want to have, the support of almost all the players as to a point to say, okay, this is what we want to do? Is it what being practiced at the MDR?
I will tell you this: democracy itself is something that does not really exist in the MDR, and I have to be very frank with you. A case in point is our illegal and quack expulsion. But beyond that, decisions that had to do with the severing attacks with the CDC, we only heard it on radio. I heard it on VOA for the first time, and then I heard it on other radio stations in Liberia. And we were all struck. I mean, the executive committee, we were surprised because we had never deliberated on rationales that should propel such a decision, but we just heard it, and we thought that was arbitrary. And this is why some of us disagreed with it at that point. And other decisions, the only democratic decisions I believe we all had input in was 2017 decision to support the runoff election and to support the president's re-election. That decision was very fair, it was democratic. We debated the decision in the executive committee too. I mean, I really saw democracy at play, but many of the other decisions are always arbitrary. Even the one wherein Senator Kuhn lobbied his way into the Unity Party to serve as running mate was not a decision that was met with the consensus of the executive committee. The convention had given a mandate that Senator Kuhn was going to be running for president, not to run for vice president. The party was never established to run or to field a vice presidential candidate. The party was established for the purposes of running for president. But even if the necessity exists for the party to consider the running mate slot, after being approached on the executive committee needed to meet in an extraordinary convention to be able to consider on that new development in light of the convention's mandate, because the convention is the highest decision-making body of the party. And so if the National Executive Committee would reassemble all the leaders of the convention, which includes the county chairpersons, the women wing, cheerleading, the youth chairpersons, 3 delegates from each of the counties, and about 22 from the central office to convene and review the decision of the convention in light of the new development, then come up with a resolution. That can also be possible. But none of these things were done. What we heard about was that county chairpersons came here, which we know there are 15 or so, to sign the resolution to reverse the decision of the convention, which can also be challenged. And that was democratic. It did not meet the consensus of the entire party convention. So representations and critical voices that should have been heard were not heard. The youths were never part of that decision. The women who were constituent members of the institution were never part of that decision, and we saw that as a sham and as a mockery. So in the context of democratizing every decision of the MDRO, that is totally non-existent. We have opined that democracy does not reside in the MDRO. What you find there is autocracy, you find chauvinism, and these are antithetical concepts, really, to government and to governance as we know it and as it should be.
I sat and listened to you on very few points. I heard you speak of the relationship between Senator Prince Johnson, your party, and that of the ruling establishment, very cordial until the latter 6 months. Things became sour. And you were shocked, and like most of us were shocked. Couple of questions. What do you think Senator Prince Johnson is up to now that it is evident he's shown his support to Mr. Joseph Walker in his lives? He provided reasons, even though you classify those reasons as immaterial. You don't see the essence behind his reasons. The reasons are immaterial. What do you think the Senator Prince Johnson is up to? Next is that what are the predictions? What are your predictions? Do you see this as a genuine move, a sincere move by Senator Prince Johnson, in whom you worked with for a very long time? You understand him. What do you think that he's up to? Do you see this as a genuine move? What is the forecast for the relationship between Senator Prince Johnson and that of the Unity Party? What could you predict? Could this lead to a genuine, sincere, marriage, or there could be something, if care is not taken as advised by you, to that of the folks in the Unity Party, if care is not taken they could lose interpret Johnson. What are your political predictions?
Full Calvin, I would not be inclined to send any kind of message that would be played to the advantage of the Unity Party. I wouldn't be the one to bring them, put them on alert. I wouldn't want to do that. And I don't think it will be necessary for me to give a prediction here that will put anybody on their guard. I wouldn't want to do that. But clearly, I know that there's a huge drama. I mean, there's a huge development. I think that will happen. Perhaps in the future. I know that
that could play at the advantage of the Unity Party,
well,
or against.
Something may undulate in the future as we make progress. But I will not give you details of what that may be. But I think the Unity Party is in a bad shape. I think they are in a bad shape. I think so. I want to believe that if they do not believe that they are in a bad shape, then it's a very dangerous thing for them. I think they do not have hope. What they call hope does not exist. If they rely on the relationship, the newfound love affairs.
They're relying on the relationship. One, the
Right.
next is that Nima is vote rich. The next one is that he's a populist leader. He has a command. He moves. He has proven over time that wherever he says the people of Nima will go, they will go.
Well, my political leader, Senator Johnson, is a statistician, and I know that he's very tactful, very thoughtful, and he knows his game better. Okay, so I can say that much. But in terms of our dominance in Niba, to say that Niba goes this way at his whims and caprices or at his command, I just told you from the data, 53.3% during the presidential elections of 2017 when he was on the ballot. That was what he got. That was what our party got. And in this election, our party is not on the ballot. Prince Johnson is not on the ballot. And so you want to guess what that number will be. So Nimba had been divided squarely in half. 50% of the populations, by the data, do not follow the senator. They disagree with him all the time. 50%, at least from the 2017 data. 50%. 2011 it was 67.7%, but that number dropped to 53.3% in 2017. So you have a huge number out there for grabs. But then again, the context must be redefined. That the fact that he is now running for president, my political leader, he's running for the Senate. There is a strong prediction that 53% may not be existent anymore. It's not just locked up in the box and waiting. With the development that is happening across the Niva land, you talk about the roads transformation, you talk about electricity, you talk about education, you talk about infrastructural development, the transformation that is happening across the landscape of Nimba. The people there are contented with staying with the regime because they're seeing a lot of great things happening under this regime, and they can predict that in the next 6 years, they'll be able to use this opportunity even more to expand. You talk about people who have realized that their nephew, the president, means well for them, and they are determined to defy all odds to support the president. So the message is resonating. The name George Weah today in Nimba is heard everywhere. It was never the case in 2005 and in 2011 or 2017. In 2023, it's a whole new ballgame. It's a new epiphany, a new phenomenon. So the name is heard everywhere, it's spoken everywhere. Opinion polls conducted across the length and breadth of Nimba, especially in populous cities, find the president or leading opinion polls. It's been discussed in the Thai.
So that suggests that he has more support in Nimba.
He has more support. The president is really taking Nimba by storm, and
Okay.
and even my political leader just came back from Nimba, and he was surprised. He said something strange is happening. He made this public statement that strange things are happening. Local government officials defied him. They said to him clearly that we're going to stick with the president. The sons and daughters of Nimba who were working in the government defied him. If women and elders from districts 4, 5, and 3 met with him in Ganta Friday, I think a week or two ago, and said to him that we want you to go back to the president and mend your relationship. They presented chicken and cola to him and asked him to do that. These things never happened before. So it tells you that the reality of the day and the truth on the ground is that the president is gaining grip and he is gradually consolidating his influence across the county.
Certainly. Our guest this morning is Minister Wilfred Bangura, the embattled Kelvin, we call it that way, right?
Yeah.
Because he has his
He
issue.
still insists that he's a member of the
He's a
party,
member, so...
and he was never
And
expelled.
before we go to the lines, do you have any... is there a point where you're going to take a legal stand against your party?
Well, that process has already commenced.
Okay.
We have already commenced. Our lawyers is already filing the necessary paperwork, necessary petition through the courts. So that process is well in course.
Okay, so this program is relayed on Prime FM. Kelvin Demi is here with me, Hot FM, Cool FM, and also you're listening to Voice of Liberia 104.1. My name is Sekou Sharif. Our guest is Minister Wilfred Bangura. He comes from MDR. He says that he's not been expelled. All he thinks what is happening, it has been illegally done, so he's going to have his day in court. We go to the lines and listen to you, Liberians, with the remaining time, 0770907907, 0880907907 are the two numbers. We gave you a minute each of the callers. Hello.
Good morning, people.
Good morning.
And let me say good morning to Kelvin Denny and that of the studio there.
Mm-hmm.
This is Kev Asante. I need to thank you for this. I'm interested.
Okay.
What makes you a man is the bravery to take certain decisions, whether it upsets you or not. Honorable Bangura, I want to say thank you. People may think that because you are protecting your job, but no. We have to reach a stage in the country where political parties will not be controlled by individuals. That the individual says there's a group of people wrong with it. Honorable Bangura, your support to this president is not you are not making the state to support this president because of the multiplicity of work that this president is carrying on. As a patriot like UN, you are left with no alternative but to support this president.
Thank you. This person. Good morning.
And good morning to you and the president. Good morning to Shirley and then good morning to the speaker. We need to be careful with the political perspective of this one. And I feel that sometimes our politics, we have a high level of deception coming from our political actors. Because yesterday, the investor said when the choices supported the CDC, yesterday, some of our folks on the CDC, we said that the people from Lima, the people that are selling transmission, the respect, the Johnson, anywhere, the people that support together, but today now, listen to one of the staff directors on the minister is saying that the president has been investigated, the president is the stronghold. Now they are not taking them very properly, not in their interest. But what we say to them is that these are the people are the ones who make the decision.
Okay. Thank you. Hello.
Yeah, good morning, Sekou.
Good morning. Go ahead.
Morning to Minister Wilfred Bangura. This is the station for the jail to allow the people defend us. And I join you this morning from our photo because related to us as President William. So you are loud and clear. You are Kevin. You are loud and clear.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Let me applaud Minister Bangura for his elucidation. Whenever he sits on the down, some of us, we are very happy because he's been sent to the day school. And it's one young man that we have respect for because where he is or where he was to make the decision, it was not a little man decision. And you
we have no president. We are giving the opportunity. So I think Liberia is a function of Liberia. So
Thank you, Heton Wuda Jedo. Let me take this person. Good morning. Good morning. Go ahead. Mm. Thank you. This person. Good morning. Good morning.
Yes, I'm Wilson Johnson for you for taking number 15, member of the National Response and Defense Team. Let me appreciate you and your colleagues. I think the minister has said it all. Let me say this. The Nimadians, they are people who give back when good are then given. The Nimadians know what's good for them. The Nimadians, they are seeing development. So, no condition. The main way is serious to lost development. So there is no way you will go against development by taking someone that has no developmental agenda in our own country. So let me say thank you, Mr. Minister, for the decision you took, and I know the decision that you took, it will continue to help you in the future. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me take another person here. Okay, let me take this person on this line. I want to go to. Okay, good morning.
Good morning,
Good morning.
and Kevin. Good morning to Deputy Minister Bangura. This is Brown starting from Monrovia. And I want to thank you so much. I think what you just said was said by one Kuba. I think he's running to be senator in Zimba. And also to the minister specialist, what you still want to do that. You know, I just came from home a few times for voter registration people. And if you pass through Lima, you will see the kind of progress that has been made with road network. You know, if you take from Cancer all the way to go to what sector PA, you will know that road network is development. We are backward in this country because of road. When we get road, primary road, basic primary road, found to market road, when you get to sector PA now, it's vegetable. They found resources that put it into sector PA to the market, my brother. So if the people will look at that one and say, because maybe our godfather say, we don't want a president, and all of them will be that decision. Well, I think then that's it. But I think the president has been making inroads, governor of Liberia are making inroads in Lima, and I think it's fair enough for Honorable Bangura and all of us who are also saying it to make determination and take independent decision. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Let me take this person here this time around. Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning to the people of Liberia. My name is Mormimg Johnson, and I joined the headquarters of the Veterans Doing for me this morning. Well, let me appreciate the minister in studio for his presentation. And I think, and the president needs to understand that MDRO is a political institution. It's not the thing is, he needs to understand also that every political institution are driven by innovative young people, like Minister Mangura mentioned. And most of the time, the institution is built, and it should not be surrounded by him. That's why he needs to understand. So I like to encourage Minister Mangura that he must make use of the law, because in as much as their political institution do not have, is not participating in the election in terms of the presidential and pay. Is important that whatever decision that Senator Johnson has taken was wrong to expel them, in which it was very illegally and
Okay, Odin Johnson. Good morning.
morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Kay over there. You are Papa Kanta.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much. And let me say also to the minister.
Okay.
The issue here is we in Nima, we are fed up with this kind of leadership in Nima. One of those days that other people who will rise the division of Nimbai, it will not happen this time around. Why is I'm not supporting the CDC or I'm not supporting any other party besides my brother leader, but it's also good that whenever a potential so that Nima comes out to do a better thing, it get out of the way. So the just out there, all rising people, they're taking people in the first position, and this will not happen again. Because we here, we talk about Nima country, everything in that sphere of Nima first. So before then, we need to put ourselves in order. One person will not come and those three people who are brought in the kind of a hardship in this country, they are coming out and searching to United Parties to cause damage for this country. We are saying no. Nima one of those data to the jobbing data, and we are.
Okay. Thank you. This person. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, my name is Abdullah Zavolo Koboyi, and I've done a conversation from Ganta.
Ganta, Nimba County.
And you know, it's very unfortunate that the minister, deputy, is living in illusion or maybe utopia, talking about President Weah will get how do you call it, was it 70% of the vote in Nima? Maybe it will be in a dream. The president has failed the people. The president has failed the people completely. Can you imagine 77 salaries is zero? Harmonization they carry on around here, setting up. I am a teacher. Can you imagine more than 6 months? I can even get my salary. And you're talking about President Weah will win Nima County or women. It's not possible. Bangura, the minister, is over there. We are on the ground. We're supposed to have Johnson and JB ticket. We'll make sure we get rid of this corrupt CDC.
Thank you.
Nothing to show in Nima County. Imagine the roof on Ghana
That other one you're talking about, me and Kevin said can tell you say that loud because there are some things there. Hey, Kevin ain't from Nimba. He mentioned nothing there. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're with different calling from District 3 in Nima County.
Okay.
Bangura is a greedy man, very greedy ungrateful guy.
Go ahead now, you live.
I think they
Let him make money. No, he's on. Maybe money. They're telling him say money. Hello.
Is it an MTM number he's calling?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Hello. Okay, let me take another person. Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Secretary.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the lady I get this is only entitled to one vote.
Where are you calling from, sir? Oh, where are you calling from? Okay, let me take 2 more calls and then we'll go back to our guests. Good morning.
Good morning.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy since I call you from Ghana.
From Banga. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I really want to appreciate your studio guest, the minister of Bangla.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I don't think everybody in Liberia needs to be a plan lawyer. As the Bangla has said, we in one country, but we can see the development in my country. I mean, just why we I saw what was happening on that on Saturday road. I saw it. I went and looked at the here. I saw what is happening on the road there. So I really want to appreciate the president. And in my country, people know that they are not going for individual, they are going for development. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me take this person. Good morning.
Good morning.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Well, I'm Chris by calling on Nimba 54.
Okay, go ahead.
I thank you for a great generation this morning on Bangura. But we are not going to vote CDC this come around. Both now integrated with the article, all the machine for that because people are not supporting them. So now we cannot go to somebody who got emotion to do something. PURG one is so we go there, we don't money. So we make sure we support the other party. Thank you.
Thank you. We want to take this person. Hello. Good morning. Good morning. Go ahead.
Yeah, one of
Yeah, this is Voice of Liberia. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, good morning. Let me say thank you for your deliberation.
Where are you joining us from, sir?
Andrew Java, calling from San
Sanicola, Nimba County. Go ahead. You getting us on Nimba, right?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. You live. Go ahead.
Let me say, that all that statement he's making, he's still there, he's just doing it because he wants to work for the government. He wants to work for the government. This government, and I'm going to go really, will see government doing development. Look at the kind of jobs that come in the country, the kind of training that's going on. Every day and night in the country. Without looking at it. I just go for me discovery. Look at the man in the country.
So what thing are you wanting to do?
We want for the transition in country to be addressed with a letter.
Okay.
We can never carry in the country to stop. We want to say what they want to if the level that
So they must stop the rope in here. Thank you very much. Let me take the last person on the line and we go to our guest. Good morning.
good morning.
Good morning, Poka Rabots.
Thank you for that magnificent recognition one of the brilliant, fascinating journey of our town, Table Sheriff. The basic good morning to you and good morning to our leader in studio there. Very brilliant. One of the issues the people of Nima Santi and Labrador are like go to, and this is what happened. We are not care about the naysayer, the feasibility, the tangibility of people. We have family letting know somebody because of one, the people of democracy, they know that the roles that we are constructed, that today they are enjoying, they want to enjoy more, and they're waiting for President to construct more. It's not about letting know one profitable, one vulnerable, no. So we have to declare the unprecedented process of President we are happy for you. So I'm thinking, so Mr. Bakula will be declared by the necessary on the very example of Jigari, but the capability, the visibility of President we are, the unprecedented progress, the role, the infrastructure.
Okay, Poka, thank you. No time. We need to go to our guest, Kevin. I think we need to go to.
Yeah, so maybe the final lap from my end, I'm concerned about, particularly in the Bayans are calling in, and most of them, if not some, they're saying that you've not done anything, you as in the context of the government. Can you counter, that because it's key, you versus Senator Prince Johnson, can you say what this government has done? In Nimba County. I'm from Nimba, I don't live there though. But can you say to us what this government has done in Nimba County that projects Senator Prince Johnson has been very ungrateful? And even those persons from Nimba who qualifies Senator Prince Johnson's statement.
Well, Kevin, let me say this to you. In politics, people will have their views. This is the beauty of our democracy. You cannot take the view of three colors from Nimba to mean that this is the verdict that has been delivered on behalf of the more than almost 300,000 registered voters. Provisional results that we have now from NEC to mean that this is where Nimba stand on this question. That would be unfair. Ask yourself a question. If all of these people who have called, these three people who have called, if they always go by the decision of Senator Johnson, why did they reject the recent by-election candidate who presented in Ganta, Professor Francis Mawia? Why did Sam Brown win? Although Jeremiah Kuhn and Senator Johnson threw the support behind the old man, why did he not win? If the county goes by the decision overwhelmingly from Senator Johnson and Jeremiah Kuhn, why is it that we have only 3 seats in the legislature in a county that has 11 seats? Why? In fact, we even struggled with 2 of the seats. The seat in district number 4 with Bumbu Carbon and they're in court. The senatorial seat won in 2020, but Jeremiah Kung also ended up in court. So why did we struggle? We won these 2 seats by a razor-thin margin. Why is it that we have a data in 2017 when Senator Johnson ran for president, only 53.3% of them voted for him to be president? Why wasn't it an overwhelming number? Why wasn't it 95% or 98%? But it kept dropping from 67.7% to 53%. Why? So these conclusions should tell you that it is not the overwhelming majority of Nibans that will go with the decision of Senator Johnson all the time. He has people there. So his people have been triggered this morning to call. So we appreciate their view. It's the Democratic rights to disagree with us.
No, but I think I think 2 or 3 persons still called from Nimba and said they were in support of.
But not everybody will call and they will say what these other 3 people said. Julius Jer was in Saklipi, he was in Sanikuli, he was in Ganta. All the opinion polls were won by the president. And these things were done very randomly. He did not announce that he was going to do opinion poll. So he would just pick anybody.
He still has, in Senator Prince Johnson,
And-
command. He still has the power to move mountains.
Senator Johnson has his followers there. Some of them called on the radio. But the president too has got people. I'm arguing that the president is making more people than he has ever made. He has more followers now than has ever been in 2005, in 2011, in 2017, and in 2023 is becoming a phenomenon. I'm arguing that the numbers the president will get from NIBA will surpass all of the numbers he's ever gotten from NIBA. And I even want to predict that number will be too shocking to a lot of these naysayers.
Okay.
I know that we've all sided with our camps. Okay, so the results will come out. But for somebody to argue that the president has done nothing at all in NIBA, is a big mockery of the truth, because the people there see these realities, they live these realities. Transportation fare has dropped tremendously along those areas with asphalt pavement. It's dropped by more than half. Okay, and it has made transportation community of goods and services very conducive. Somebody call and says, development is now growth. You want to take that person serious? Is that a serious person? Is that a very serious person to you, in your opinion? Isn't that somebody who is hallucinating? How dare you speak in a denigrating way about a fundamental driver of economic growth, which is road? Without road, what else can you really envisage to grow or to prosper?
Okay,
so I just want to talk about, look, these roads are constructed along very important corridors.
Yeah, we need to conclude. No time. Other radio stations really.
Well, these are international corridors. The corridor from Ganta it runs into Guinea. The one from Senegal runs into Ivory Coast. The one from Ganta runs into Saklipi and the southeast. These are very viable, important corridors. These corridors will tremendously boost the economic growth of NIBA. It will raise GDP. Even a young man who called is riding on that road every day. He's appreciating the road. He's not bouncing. Whether he's using motorbike or using his car, he's comfortably reclining and riding, and yet he has the audacity to come and denigrate that kind of development. He knows he's not speaking the truth. So you can tell from these people how shaky his voice was. But we know that the way forward?
What's the way forward?
Appreciate the tremendous development. Look at Bayan High School. Have you ever seen Bayan High School, which was in squalor, hugely dilapidated for the last 12 years?
We need to go.
Today,
no time.
Bayan has a very modern building, a building that anybody can boast of.
Was it built by the government?
Yes. Bayan has a very stable electricity. People are doing businesses there. Everybody now wants to go into NIBA because a lot of great things are happening. They are happening under the regime
we need to go.
of the president. So the buyers know that.
Yeah.
So those others,
What's the way forward?
From the various districts who were clear with the senator and told him was supporting the president, do not share the sentiment that these guys share. So we respect their view, but the ground reality is not the same. These 3 people do not represent all of NIBA County. No. The story is changing, and it's never going to remain the same. The data will come out, and you will see it. The person will do very well in the election there. They should they better go out there to work harder, because the president has men on the ground. We got people there who were working. Look, our determination is to win NIMA. We don't want to go into NIMA to say we want to share
And
vote,
to-
or we will. No, we are determined to win NIMA in the election.
Thank you
and
very
we're
much.
working towards that.
Thank you very much. Like I asked you, what's the way forward about you and the MDR?
No, well, that process is going to be handled through the judiciary. We are reliant upon that very hugely, and we know that our rights will be restored. That we'll continue to fight for our party to be redeemed from those who have purchased it, and we will continue to ensure that the objective that brought that party into being is achieved. We will not relent. We will not turn back. Will remain focused, and we'll ensure that this is achieved.
Thank you very much. We want to say thank you for coming. We hope we can have these kinds of conversations as we move towards the elections. Though you have people being expelled, people having this kind of an issue in court, and lots of issues. But we wish you all the best, and we hope that you can win your case.
But it's plain. You don't even have to be a legal minded person to know that our rights were abused. They will be restored. We will win the case.
Hope to see you back with your political leader.
But we are back. I'm a supporter.
In a sense where the both of you.
But let me make this clear that I'm a supporter of the senator. I support the senator's re-election. I don't have any other candidate, and he is my political leader. I mean, I'm very clear about this. I will support him, but I will support the president. I mean, I stand firm and I stand committed to this, and he knows that. I even told him, I said, look, I said, I will cast my vote for you. I'll take a picture of it and show it to you. And you know, I've been always loyal to you, but I disagree with certain things, and you should respect my right to disagree with you.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's all the time we've got to be here. Calvin, we need to go.
Thanks so very much for the invite. Thanks so very much for the partnership. And again, thanks so very kindly for showing up, to see what you know and what we need here to the people of Liberia.
Okay, that is all we need to. Politics is something very interesting. Wilfred Bangura has been our special guest here this morning. This program been relayed on Heart FM, Prime FM, Cool FM, and you've been listening to Voice of Liberia 104.1. My name is Sekou Sharif. Maybe the next time we'll have these kinds of conversations when it is being planned. Do have yourself a God bless day from the nation's capital, Monrovia.